What is up, guys? Welcome back to the videos. I've been getting this question a lot recently, which is how do I drive right-hand drive every day, and how is it like driving right-hand drive as compared to driving something that is like left-hand drive, like these two cars. So obviously, as you guys probably already know, my Z is right-hand drive. Sorry, it's like super dirty because it's like +3 right now. That's degrees Celsius. And it's like all the snow's melting. Obviously, my Z isn't the normal Z. It is right-hand drive. It's actually a Fairlady, which the only difference is like the steering wheel's on this side. Other than that, it shares like parts with a 350Z in North America, so it's pretty much just a 350Z with the steering wheel on the wrong side. Nevertheless, I'm gonna be going over some of the things I had to go through when I first started driving right-hand drive, why I prefer it and stuff like that, and things to kind of look out for. Unlike the last two videos, we were kind of sitting down, staying inside the house because it was super cold, but now it's a nice day, and let's go ahead and go for a drive. So first things first, obviously getting inside the car, you're gonna be going into the right side instead of being on the left side like over there. What most people ask me, and if you're a car person, this is probably a really stupid question, but surprisingly I've got this a lot. They ask me if my pedals are the same as the left-hand drive version. So for example, here I got my 3 pedals. I got my 3 pedals here, the gas, brake, and then the clutch. They're all the same. So whether you have a left-hand drive or a right-hand drive, that shit doesn't matter because the clutch is always on the left, the accelerator is always on the right, the brake is in the middle. With the left-hand drive and right-hand drive, it doesn't really matter. It's all the same. So that's one, and really surprised I've actually gotten that so many times before. They're mainly older people that haven't driven right-hand drive, but it's kind of weird, but yeah, it's the same. Also, another thing to consider is the shifter. Now, I don't have a shift pattern on this shift knob. Let's see if I can untie it since it's warm. Because it's aftermarket. The shifter is exactly the same as the left-hand drive. Imagine I'm sitting on the other side. That's first gear, second gear, 3, 4, 5, and then 6, and then reverse is all the way down here. It's all the same, but only just imagine you're sitting in the other seat. So instead of one being close to you, like on a left-hand drive, it would be further away from you and you're shifting towards yourself instead of shifting away from yourself, if that makes sense. I've had someone drive my car before and they started in 5th gear. They straight up got into the car and then put it into 5th gear, thought it was 1st gear, and they stalled. Rest in peace, clutch. That was not a good day. Anyways, let's go ahead and go for a drive. I'll get the keys for the Evo. Alright. I was just gonna go drive around and talk to you guys. I realized that for the folks that aren't really active on Instagram and just watch my YouTube, you guys probably haven't seen Ariana in a long ass time. So in this video, we're gonna go say hi to Ariana. Maybe start her because I have the keys here because spring is just around the corner and the weather is getting really warm. So hopefully car meets and boosts will start happening again. I really miss that car. Another thing to mention about driving right-hand drive is the blind spots. Like if you guys can see, like all the way back here and over there, I can't see shit. So you kind of have to like angle your car without scaring the people in the other lane. Okay, let's go. Oh, traction. No slip, no slip. Drop its power into 2nd gear. So that was kind of sketchy, but whatever. Now it's not all JDM cars. With the Z, for example, you have a major blind spot over here, and that's with the left and right hand drive versions. That's just something to consider. But one thing that most people don't ask, once you sit down in a right hand drive and start driving it, you immediately notice that the rear view mirror, instead of it being on your right hand side, it's on your left hand side. Everyone asks me silly questions about the pedals or the shifter or the transmission or whatever, but no one asks me about how it is getting used to looking. When you want to look behind you, you look here instead of looking there. No one notices that until you sit down in a right-hand drive car. Another major thing, if you guys remember in one of my previous videos, I'll leave a link somewhere over here, Tanner was driving the Z, and he wanted to use the turn signals, but he kept hitting the wiper. And that's a normal thing. Any one of my friends, they always hit the wipers. It makes this weird, like, okay, now it's not doing it because it's not really that dry, but you know when the wipers like make that or whatever, people always hit the wipers instead of using the actual turn signal, which they want to use. So here's a trick that I learned from going back to left-hand drive, right-hand drive. Some days I drive the Evo, I want to hit the wiper, turn on the turn signal. Anyways, a simple trick that I use to make sure that I always know where the turn signal is, put your hand, whichever your shifting hand is, whether you're left-hand drive or right-hand drive, put your hand on the shifter and your hand at more or less about 3 o'clock on the steering wheel. No matter if it's left-hand drive or right-hand drive, the hand that's on the steering wheel will always be where the turn signal is. Go into your car, try it, and comment down below. Any car. Yeah. I still use that today if I go back from driving left-hand drive or right-hand drive. Another reason why I feel like people are buying right-hand drive cars, mind you, it's an older car, you probably shouldn't push it as hard as you can push a newer car. I feel like it's the, you know, cheap speed and the exclusivity of having a right-hand drive car. Like, so many people that I drive by, just like this car over here, people are going to be looking at me and they're like, do you know that your steering wheel's on the wrong side? I'm like, yeah, I do know. And I actually told one person that I'm left-handed, and I went to the dealership when I bought this car. They made me a left-handed car. I don't know where the dude is now, but he probably thinks that you can actually do that in a dealership, which you cannot do that. But yeah, I think it's the fact that it's exclusive and it's cheap speed compared to what you're paying for a new car with more or less the same specs. Another reason why I would prefer to buy a car from Japan as opposed to buying a car locally, what my city does, which sucks, absolutely sucks if you're a car enthusiast and care anything about your car, is they put salt on the ground to melt the snow. When you buy a car from Japan, they don't really have winters like we do in Canada or North Dakota or, you know, around that area. Mind you, the cars still get rusty, but it's not as bad as here. The overall condition of cars in Japan, in my opinion, from what I've seen, is way better than what you would see here. The car would be 15 years old, and when you put the car up the hoist, it looks brand new. There's no rust. From all the cars that I've imported, they've been really good. And like the S2000, I think, has like 140,000 K, and still it doesn't have a lot of rust underneath the car. It's still really good condition. Speaking of conditions of the car, another thing to also think of is if you guys care about the mileage of the car. I know a lot of car enthusiasts nowadays don't care about the mileage because cars are meant to be driven, but think about it this way: the higher the mileage of the car, the more worn the engine and the components of the car could be. So just imagine you're buying a car with like 300,000 K and you want to take it to the racetrack. That's like asking your grandma to run a marathon. Maybe you have a really athletic buff granny. For a fact, I know my grandma can't do that. In Japan, most of the cars are fairly low. Like I bought the Z with about 53,000 kilometers. In Japan, everything is really compact and really close, so they don't really put as much mileage. Obviously, you can find cars in Japan that have like 200,000 K, but for the most part, it's around, I'd say 50 to 100,000. So that's also another thing to consider. And honestly, that's really all I can think about in terms of the differences with driving left-hand drive and right-hand drive. There are some things that you would have to get used to, like I said, the shifter, looking over here for your rear view mirror and stuff like that. It's honestly, it's not really that different as what people would think. It's not a huge, it's really not a huge deal. I can't talk. Honestly, that's all I can really think about in terms of the differences with driving left-hand drive and right-hand drive. There's a few things like the shifter to get used to and the rear view mirror, with those two things being on the other side. But other than that, to me, it's not a huge deal. My first car in high school was right-hand drive. My first car in high school was right-hand drive, and I don't know, I got really used to it pretty easily. So honestly, in my opinion, it's not a huge deal. I feel like most of you guys can get used to it if you guys want to drive right-hand drive. If not, it's getting more and more like common to have a right-hand drive car. So if you know anyone with a right-hand drive car, I'm sure they would let you try it out. Yeah, you guys, it's definitely something to try out and experience for sure. Alright, so we just made it to where Ariana is stored. Honestly, I've been seeing her every other day now that it's getting closer to summer. Man, I'm so hyped to drive it again. I can't wait to drive Ariana and just to feel the boost. Oh, so good. Bam, the Evo. Shit. Man, I miss driving this car so much, and even just having it back in the channel, like looking at it through the camera, so good. I also parked super close to the wall here. I'm like probably inches away from hitting my mirror on the wall, but I do that so this fuck doesn't park super close to me. And as you can tell, he still does. Like this motherfucker has so much space over here. He just wants to snuggle up a little bit, that's all. Although the battery is not hooked up right now, we are back in Ariana. I'm not gonna take her out because, as you guys probably saw, it's super wet, mucky, and it's icy. And these Falcon Azeni tires are not good for the snow. There's a few things I want to do. Maybe one day get rid of this Cobb access port. It's good for now as just like a throw-on tune just so the car runs better. But eventually I was told that I want to go standalone, especially when I swap the turbo, which is probably years to come yet because that stuff is expensive. Another thing I wanted to ask you guys is I got this steering wheel reupholstered. It's like, I think what is it called, like perforated leather. I don't know if the camera will focus. You can kind of see it there. It's like the leather with the holes on it, and this is just normal leather on top, and I have the red stripe. I was thinking about getting rid of this steering wheel and putting in a Nardi, kind of similar to the one I have in the Z. Or should I just keep this steering wheel because I already did something to it and it actually has functions, and this is for my all-wheel drive control and stuff like that. Obviously, if I do put a Nardi, obviously I can't have any of these features. But I'll leave it up to you guys. Let me know down below, comment, because it does help out the channel. And I want to see what you guys think. What should I do next to the Evo? Lots of things to come. I think I'm gonna connect the battery. There is someone over there. I don't know if he's chill, but this car is obnoxiously loud, especially with how close I am to a wall here. And the fact that this whole place where the car is stored is just concrete. It just echoes and echoes and echoes. But I don't know, maybe I'm gonna start it, maybe not. I'm totally gonna start it. I think the person's gone. I don't see anyone there. So this is an idea I came up with my dad, to put the Dakota harness there to kind of match like the interior of the car. Some people don't like it, some people like it. I don't really know. I think it looks really cool. I really like the harnesses. It looks like the sub is ready for a racetrack, but I don't know why you'd need a sub on a race car. there be light. There she is. Now the battery isn't really like bolted in, it's just kind of on, so should be good enough for a startup. Not gonna kill the thing, but let's go ahead and start up Ariana. To all the people here that I'm gonna be bothering because I'm gonna be starting my car, I'm very sorry. Alright, so before I end today's video, just want to let you guys know that I did place an order for a bunch of anti-perfect hats. Some of you guys were messaging me how you guys can get one on Instagram. Just honestly, there's 10 of them. I don't know if I'm gonna make any more, but DM me if you guys want one. And yeah, these are all gonna be for sale. First come, first serve. If there's a lot of interest in it, I can obviously make more. But for now, I'm just going to start off with 10. I don't know if you guys are going to be into this. It's embroidered on there. Anti-perfect. And there's anti-perfect as well in kanji, Japanese writing. Let me know on Instagram if you guys are interested. But anyway, that's all the time we have for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if you did, remember to leave a like as it really helps out the channel. And join the Anti-Perfect Society. Peace out and make it happen.